my coworker Kate is on, so I think we're gonna start. So thank you all for joining. We are going to talk about the services that are provided through Advancing Opportunities. So I'll introduce myself in a second, but I just wanted to mention, since this is a virtual conference and some of you might not be from the state of New Jersey, we are a New Jersey-based service provider. We're not a vendor that sells equipment. We provide services, and we also have a technology lending center for the state of New Jersey. So if you happen to live in another state, you're welcome to stay on and hang in there with us. There's probably similar services where you live, but we are talking about services that we provide in the state of New Jersey. So if anybody needs to leave, I won't take offense. So like I said, we're going to talk about the services we provide at Advancing Opportunities. I'll just quick introduce myself. My name is Kristen Russell. I am an assistive technology specialist at Advancing Opportunities. I've been there for since 2006, so that's quite a while. And my background is as an occupational therapist, and I'll talk a little bit more about the types of services that I provide here in a minute, but I wanted Kate's literally on the road. Well, she's not driving, but she's literally fresh out of a school or someone's home or something like that. Kate, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Flaxman. My background is I'm a speech language pathologist, and I do the augmentative communication evaluations and trainings for advancing opportunities.
Awesome. Okay, so we thought what we would do today is share a little bit about our services. So Kate and I, we are coworkers, but we do different jobs. So we'll kind of give you a rundown of the types of evaluations and trainings that we can do. And then probably the second half or so, we will talk about our technology lending center, which is a really great resource in New Jersey. So I'll start by kind of sharing a little bit about my job and the services that I provide. So I've kind of listed them out here on the slide, but in a nutshell, oops, you know what? Hold on, I accidentally skipped the slide here. Let me back up one quick second. Just give you a quick little background about our agency. So like I said, we work for Advancing Opportunities. We work in the Assistive Technology Services Department, but our agency provides other services to people with disabilities as well. We have lots and lots of group homes throughout the state of New Jersey. So our main thing that we do in our department is provide evaluations and trainings, as well as the Technology Lending Center. So we are commonly working with school districts, we work with vocational rehab, we work with DDD and DCF, and we work with the New Jersey Traumatic Brain Injury Fund. A link to our department's website is on here as well. Okay, so back into my job here. So we cover a lot of different types of assistive technology. So I've kind of listed them out here. But there's definitely overlap. So I'll just start by saying that all of our evaluations are directed specifically to a specific person's needs and the goals that they're wanting to achieve. So nothing is cookie cutter, everything is individualized towards a particular person. So one of the biggest areas of evaluations that we provide would be evaluations to look at assistive technology tools for reading, writing, note-taking is a big one, math. So frequently this would be consumers with learning disabilities. So this could be, students in elementary, middle, high school, but certainly colleges, and then people in the workplace that need some supports for their job. So we're looking at built-in accessibility tools, things on Chromebooks, iPads, phones, Windows, Mac computers, kind of run the gamut. Another big area that I cover personally would be to look at computer access for people with physical disabilities. So for example, we have quite a few consumers with spinal cord injuries who need different adaptive equipment to access the computer for work or school, people with muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy. So mainly centered around computer access there. Executive functioning skills, I would say over the past 5 or so years, we've gotten quite a few more referrals for organization, time management, that kind of stuff. Like I mentioned before, we do work with the Traumatic Brain Injury Fund. So we're working with people with brain injuries, but also people with ADHD who might struggle with organization, time management. So this is kind of looking at all different tools that can help support somebody. So this might be using an electronic calendar. This might be using an Amazon Alexa. It might be using an Apple Watch. All different kinds of tools and strategies for that. One thing that I really personally enjoy is doing workstation evaluations or looking at the ergonomics of somebody's setup. So if someone has neck or back pain or carpal tunnel or something along those lines that's interfering with their ability to sit on their computer and do their job, this is a big thing over the past 2 years for sure. We can help evaluate their seating needs, looking at different chairs, looking at different desks, standing desks, different ergonomic mouse and keyboards and that kind of thing. Work accommodations is another area that's a little bit unique. So this might be somebody who has a particular job, but we need to kind of think out of the box and figure out what equipment or what accommodations the person would need to be able to do their job. So commonly this comes up for me, somebody who has a job and then has some type of injury and now is returning to work, and we need to kind of figure out what they need to get back to work. And lastly, we do evaluations for vision, and we can, my coworker Sally Haggerty has a lot of expertise in there. So this could be somebody who's blind or visually impaired, but also maybe somebody who has some sensitivity to the computer screen, to the light coming from the computer screen, or just needs to tweak some visual settings on their computer. So that's a quick summary of the types of evaluations that I would provide. So Kate will kind of do the same and share a little bit about her role. Kate, you're muted.
You would think that I would know how to work this by now. So we provide also evaluations, trainings, and in-services. Myself and my coworker Karen, she also, her background is similar to mine in that she's a speech language pathologist. We work with a very wide range of funding sources similar to Kristen and Sally in terms of schools, and then the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation and DDD, the supports program, as well as the TBI fund and schools. We work with a very wide range of disabilities, both developmental and acquired, in terms of anybody who has an impact on speech and is has difficulty communicating verbally. So typically individuals have diagnosis like autism or Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. There's a very wide range of individuals that we help. And what we look at is how can we provide methods of communication in addition to speech that somebody can utilize to better communicate with others. So looking at things like unaided communication modalities like sign language and gestures, as well as aided communication modalities, things like paper communication systems or technology like iPads or dedicated speech generating devices. Such most of them at this point are tablet based, and then looking at how is somebody going to best access those communication modalities. Like, are they going to be able to use their hand to touch it and make a selection, or do they need to use a switch to access their communication system, or are they going to need more support like eye gaze and things like that. The technology has really changed over the years, and we really can find something that works for everyone to improve their communication.
Awesome. Should we jump in? Anything else you wanted to say, Kate?
No, that's it. Do you want me to take over for home accessibility, or do you want to do it?
I can do it. One thing I was thinking though, Kate sitting in her car made me think of this is all our services are provided wherever the consumer is. So we're going to the school, we're going to the person's workplace, we're meeting them on the college campus, we're seeing them in their home, wherever it is that they would be using the assistive technology tools, we travel there. So aside from what Kate does and what I do along with our coworkers, Karen and Sally, what our assistant director, Garth, his area of expertise is in accessibility. So he does evaluations all throughout the state of New Jersey, looking at accessibility of people's homes, but also workplaces or schools. So things commonly addressed during an evaluation like that would be looking at the entrance or egress of a house. So helping to figure out if a ramp is the best way to go, or if a lift is a better option. Bathrooms, as you can imagine, there's tons of accessibility needs in a bathroom. In that little picture I have there, you see there's a wall hung sink, there's a roll-in shower, there's a flip down grab bar there next to the toilet. So helping families think through what would make most sense to have an accessible bathroom that's also safe. The other most common area that would be looked at would be stairs, and trying to figure out if a person does need to get to a second floor, for example, but isn't able to safely navigate the stairs. What are their options there, like a stair lift or a lift, an elevator, whatever it may be in someone's home. So that's a big chunk of what we do, and a lot of that is through the DDD supports program. Kate, do you want to talk about do you want to intro the TLC, or you want me to? You know what? I think I'm going to go because Kate, your connection is like a little not great. Do you want me to, why don't I do this? Because you're flipping in and out a little bit. Okay, but feel free to chime in. So one of the most unique things about our agency is that we have a technology lending center. We call it the TLC. The whole point of this is for people to be able to try equipment before they buy it. So we get funding to purchase equipment and to handle the loaning and shipping out all of the details that makes it work. The funding comes through Disability Rights New Jersey, who is putting on this conference today. And this is a completely free service for anybody in New Jersey, okay? If you happen to not live in New Jersey, you still have access to a technology lending center in your state. So I put a link down here where you can look at your state and see where your state's technology lending center happens to be. In our facility, we have tons of equipment from low tech to high tech. I'm going to show you some different examples of how that works. So if you are a person with a disability who wants to try equipment, if you're a professional working with a student, or who maybe wants to try some different technology, if you're a family member or a caregiver who's curious about some technology, this is a great resource so you don't have to spend the money to test it out. So you can try it out and see if it really works before you move forward with purchasing or finding funding. So the process is really simple. This is the contact information if you would want to borrow equipment. You're always welcome to reach out to Kate or myself as well, and our contact info is in this presentation as well. But this is the TLC email address. So you would just reach out to us. We would get your contact info. You let us know what equipment you like to borrow. You can borrow more than one thing at once. There's really no limit. As long as we have it available, we'll loan it out. How we do that is we ship things out via UPS. So we'll package everything out. We put a loan agreement in there with a date for return. And we also include a return UPS shipping label. Okay, so you don't have to pay for the return shipping. You can borrow the equipment for 4 to 6 weeks. When you're done, you pack everything back in the same box, affix the label that we put in the box, and drop it off at UPS, or I think you can even schedule a UPS pickup as well. So it's a really easy process, and we have a lot of great stuff. We're always adding new things. So just to give you kind of a taste of what is in our technology lending center, we kind of have a bunch of slides here with some different pictures. This is not everything we have, but it's kind of just a little sampling. So here are some different mouse options. This is actually eye gaze here, an eye gaze unit that would attach to a computer. Here you see this is a trackball, a Kensington trackball. I use that a lot with people with spinal cord injuries. This is a joystick, an Enabler Pro. This is great for somebody with a physical impairment like cerebral palsy. This one in the middle is an RJ Cooper mouse that I think is pretty self-explanable. Just some big buttons there. And then these last two on here are a newer device. This is a QHA Zono, and this is a Glass Mouse. These are both different head mouses. So they connect to the computer, and head movement will control the mouse cursor on the screen. So they're really awesome for someone who doesn't have a lot of upper extremity movement. These are some keyboard options that we have available. This keyboard here, oh, I clicked on my screen here. This is a big key. So these keys are like roughly 1-inch squares. This one down here, the yellow one is just a regular size keyboard, but it has high contrast, so making it a little bit easier for people who are visually impaired. This is a keyboard. It's kind of hard to see. This is a clear plexiglass. I can't think of the right word, a clear plexiglass thing that would sit on top of a keyboard that helps somebody with a physical disability kind of guide their finger in so they don't hit incorrect keys as much. This little tiny guy is a real tiny little keyboard, probably about the size of our hand. We use this a lot for people who are typing with one hand, so they don't have to stretch their hand as much. And then we have a variety of different typing aids. This is just one. We use these a lot with people with spinal cord injuries or other physical disabilities that make it difficult to use the keyboard. So we have all different ones, some of which would work on an iPad screen, which like Kate mentioned, for communication devices, if there's an access need there, those are sometimes tools that we'll try for that. All right, so for ergonomics, you'll see this picture of Veridesk. I'm sure you guys have seen commercials for this. I think I even saw a billboard recently. These have become pretty popular during the pandemic. We do have these to loan out. This is not something we really can ship because it's really heavy and big, but this just sits on top of a regular desk, and there's handles that you can use it to raise the desk so you can stand and work, but then put it back down and sit. So you can alternate between sitting and standing. We do have some ergonomic chairs, which also we don't ship, but we can, you know, those of us in our department do a lot of driving, so we can always find a way to drop something off to somebody if need be. So we have probably 3 or 4 different chair options. And then we have lots of different keyboard and mice. These are just examples of ergonomic keyboards and mice. This is a Microsoft one that I have sitting on my desk right now that I use personally. We have tons of switches. So these often are used to connect to a communication device. We have different switch interfaces as well. So we have a pretty good selection of a variety of switches. So if you're looking at that for a student or a person that you're working with, you know, it's great to borrow a couple so you have something to compare. The one that's probably the least common on this screen is down in the lower left. This is a candy corn switch, which is a proximity switch. So you just have to get close to that to activate it. You don't have to actually physically push a button. We have lots of different switch toys. I don't know, these are random switch pictures. I don't know if we have all of these things in our TLC, although I do think we have a few of these, but these are all different switch adapted toys. So by plugging in a switch, a child who is not able to play with a toy in the typical way can still have that play experience by connecting a switch and making these different toys do different things. So this is like a bubble thing, lots of different stuffed animal things. So it's a good variety to kind of test out and see what your child likes before purchasing some on your own. Kate, you want to do these AAC slides?
Sure. So, oh, and by the way, we do have all of those switch toys that are listed there.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Thanks, Kate.
Yeah, I saw most of them yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
So we have quite a few different AEC systems. So these are just some examples of single or multiple message recorded options. So the big red button is the Big Mac that will allow you to record somebody's, like, I can record my speech, and then it's just one, you touch it and it says one message and that's it. The middle one has three different messages, and then the Go Talk there, it looks like it's a Go Talk 20. For that, you would create like a paper overlay and be able to record messages. We do have all of those available and more, depending on what you're looking for specifically. Can you change the slide, Kristen? Thanks. And then we also have, it's very common right now to have an AEC app for the iPad. We do have iPads available for with all of the common AEC apps that are out there on the market. We do have the ability to purchase ones if there's something that we don't have. But we have everything from Lamp Words for Life, Touch Chat with Word Power, Proloquo to Go Speak for Yourself, Go Talk Now, anything that you would think of, Proloquo for Text, SimPod. So we do have a lot. If you're going to ask about borrowing an iPad with an app, please make sure that you request the app that you want. Not all of our apps are on all of our iPads, although we can put any of our apps on any of our iPads. We just need to know ahead of time. And we, at this point, do not loan out any of the speech generating devices from companies such as Tobii Dynavox, PRC, Sautillo, Lingraphica. Those you would need to reach out to the manufacturers directly for trial devices. At one point in time, we used to have them to loan out. However, technology changes so quickly that we really feel it's best for people to reach out to the manufacturers for loans. All of the companies, from my experience, they're very happy to provide loan units, whether it's for trials or evaluation purposes.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate. So a couple other slides here. We do have some different things for either low vision, like you see magnifier here, or different ADL, like, some different feeding equipment, large button phones. This thing down in the spoon in the lower left corner is a liftware spoon. So this is a spoon that helps someone with tremor. So it has like technology inside to kind of negate the tremor. There's also another spoon in the liftware line that's helpful for people who have limited mobility or limited motor skills for feeding. And then we do have some smart home type stuff. This is like an example of an Amazon Echo. We do have the Tekla, which you can use. It's a Bluetooth enabled device that you can use to connect to different Bluetooth devices like your phone or TVs, and access with switches. And then we do have the Microsoft Xbox adaptive gaming kit, which is really cool. We've loaned that out a few times. I know I had a parent borrow it before Christmas, test it out, and then they were able to get it for their child for Christmas. So that was really cool. And it's a really great system. So that's a sampling of the TLC. We're always getting new things. We're always clearing out the old stuff that's no longer being used. So feel free to always just check in if there's something that you want to try. Kate and I would be more than happy to talk to you about the TLC, but also about services that we provide. If there's ever a student that you're thinking or a person that may benefit from an assistive technology evaluation, we're happy to talk it through and make sure that it makes sense. However we can help, we are here for you. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to unmute and ask them. You can put them in the chat. Any questions, feedback? If any of you have used the TLC before, have any thoughts? We'd love to hear it. And if not, we really appreciate you guys coming and learning a little bit about advancing opportunities, and we hope our paths cross at some point in the future. So I'll hang on here. If anybody wants to unmute and ask any questions, feel free. Thank you, guys. Where are you headed now, Kate?
Home.
Okay. Oh, good. It's kind of a crummy day. I'm a little nervous about the weather tomorrow. I've got to watch the weather report. I have a long day of driving tomorrow. I'm hoping there's no ice.
Oh, I do too. I don't remember where I'm going tomorrow, but I do have, oh, I do know. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's been like, it's all good. It's all good.
Oh my gosh. I feel like you seem stressed. I don't like seeing Kate stressed. Makes me stressed.
No, I'm like, I have so much paperwork to do, and
yeah.
I had told Judy that I had a lot of that I needed like this week for her not to hand me anything else, and she didn't.
Oh. Well, feel free to call me on your drive home. I'm gonna leave this Zoom call though, because I think maybe I don't know if it's a used room for the next person.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Thanks for jumping on.
Bye.